Hi there, it's Jill. I thought in addition to sending the proposal, I would send a short 10-minute video in order to kind of describe more of what content strategy and SEO is and what you'd get out of it. I know when you're starting out in a company, it's really important to, um, invest in things that you think would help grow your business. So really wanted to educate and communicate a little bit more details, and so we can develop a healthy partnership. So, what an effective content strategy delivers? First, it establishes credibility and category authority. Number two, attracts, qualifies, and nurtures inbound leads. And number three, surfaces customer behavior data that informs growth decisions. So how it works, and I'm sure you're somewhat familiar because I've seen all the great content online already. You have top of funnel content that sparks curiosity and is educational, blogs, videos. And then mid funnel that kind of nurtures some leads, creates a deeper engagement. The best thing is have to like primary data white paper. I know you guys are just starting out, but I think, and so maybe you don't have a bunch of internal data lying around, but we do, I think right now at the change of, science and how science is done. And I think like there's a case to be made. You could create like a really good educational content on the state of organizational design and life sciences and how serve, how you fulfill a need. Then bottom funnel content, you as a case study. And then below all that content, you need to have a healthy, foundation of a website that also serves as a readout of your customers, what people are engaging with, how are you getting people to the site, and so on. So the end tactical goals, your website becomes a place your audience returns to trust for information. And so you have a healthy, background of a healthy website, your white paper, and then all these from your unique insights or your thesis of like why you exist, um, that you use all these different, channels and messaging types to engage different audiences and kind of flood the zone. So, how do you get there? Well, you take a phased approach. First is just brand and content assessment. So, since you guys are new, I mean, that's normally going to take like a couple weeks, but just having internal calls and so on, and looking at your website, looking at your competitors. And then website optimization. If you do start content strategy, you really want to make sure your website optimized. Since you have a new site, it's probably going to be really great. But you do need to do some SEO, make sure all your data is linked, and then probably like immediately start creating backlink strategies, because that's a compounding ongoing process. Strategy development, building out your content plans and then producing the content launch. And then from all the stuff that you're doing, make sure that you're checking to see, what's working, who's responding to what, and so you can optimize strategies. So I've been doing this for 10 years now, and I know that like where people kind of get stuck is on the content strategy. They're kind of overthinking, or they're just doing so much stuff and you don't really know, it's all good. You got to get out in the airwaves, but maybe, kind of taking a little bit more, slightly more targeted approach of different content types. Usually what we start is we optimize or create some core service or product pages on your website. And then, publish content that's focusing on the main tension point that you think your audience will respond to. And then focus on different content channels. Typically, it's a blog and LinkedIn, and maybe, at some point just starting up a newsletter. And then building that 90-day plan, and then watch what resonates. And then so you can really fine tune your strategy and scope and demographics and create some realistic goals. So this is what your first like a planner would look like. theme, go by themes. Your first theme is really reframing the problem, making readers question the status quo, um, move from opinion to proof, so really adding some data-backed authority, and then humanizing the brand. People want to know who you are, so they can, especially if you're newer on the scene, they want to kind of get to know like who's creating this software and this capability. And I think with your stellar background, that's something you really want to emphasize. And then you have different formats and then target audiences. Maybe you're more fine-tuned on this, but typically it's the end user and the decision maker, and then goals. So awareness, consideration, or, lead nurture. So then, now we really want to optimize for AI search, which is, such a great way to create, visibility and awareness, but also answer people's questions, which is a great way to lead nurture and trust building. So you got to get up into these AI search tools and really figure out what people are searching for. Um, and like how you would contribute to that conversation and shape algorithms really. So it's, beyond just kind of optimizing the back end of the website, you're really like AI search is built to, um, you need to optimize the whole content system, make sure, there's internal and channel alignment. Like what are you saying in a press Q&A versus what you're saying on your blog? Is it the same thing, but just, slightly message different? And that takes some, kind of craft and talent to do that. Um, and then is it credible? Is it reference? Is it good reference? Is it, or is it, do you have a strong website technical foundation? Are you just relying on one channel or you're diversifying channels? AI really likes diversity and slow compound growth. And then external validation. What are other people saying about you? Are people referencing you and their work? So that you can purchase backlinks. That's a great way to start. And then over time, you get earned media and citations. Contents, and then content syndication and distribution. If you had a really great white paper, you just throw out, you could do content syndication. It's really inexpensive now. It can be like $100, but, probably worth the bang for the buck. That's good for kind of the algorithms, and then also, uh, to build up your brand. So, okay, great. So you do all this stuff and that's perfect. But, and if you have yearly goals, okay, well, or you say, well, we're going to invest this much, but like, what do you really want to get out of it? So you want to, the way I look at it, I mean, there's really not a lack of metrics. So I just look at it like, well, here's all the best practices. What action do we take to stay on top of those best practices? And what metric do we use to ensure that we're, doing, improving? So I won't go through all of these details, but I will say at the very end, the AI and content governance is very important. So without content strategy and governance, AI amplifies existing gaps in how people, processes, and technology work together. So we developed a life science content quality scoring system that enables to scale without dilution. So, as mentioned, I do work with large pharmaceutical companies. Clearly, these types of conversations is a little bit, you have bigger people and bigger systems, and you have to create all these content pillars. But I did want to mention it because I think that it's really important, even for small companies, just to, create some healthy habits on how you're going to develop these systems so it can be sustainable, and, kind of advance with rigor. So you don't need to create a constitution. You don't need to have a bunch of meetings about it, but just developing some healthy habits is good. So I learn a lot from Stanford's AI Institute. I think, just kind of trust that what's coming out of that organization. But I also host and the director have a relationship with UC San Diego and San Diego State University. It's been going on for 3 years now, where students come and and test out some of these AI tools and create a blog to, talking about what they learned. But it's really a great way to stay up to date because there's always kind of new stuff coming out. So our startup content strategy offering is simple. It's 3 parts. We study, we plan, we execute. So, I am a small business. It's myself and a bunch of subcontractors that I've been working with for the past 10 years. And we're a great team. We can be very low cost. And so, it's always, obviously I can, adjust, we can talk about it. But typically what I do is I just start out with 1,500 a month for 4 months. And this is in the proposal. You can look at more details. You have foundation, month 2, strategy and content, and month 3, accelerate and measure. So then by the end of the 4th month, you have a good stable base and you really know, can have like a better idea of what to do moving forward. And maybe you'll be like, okay, this is great. Actually, with all these tools, and we have an intern and we can do this ourselves, or we're going to hire this new person and now this person is going to do it. I'd be like, okay, great. Or maybe, and just let me know if you're going to scale and I'll come back and we'll help you really scale. Or maybe you'll be like, awesome, let's just kind of keep going with this. Maybe, you want to add a little bit more to do more backlink acquisitions, or you want to create that white paper if you have it, or do some paid social. And that's really cheap. I'm even, that you can go on LinkedIn. It's very easy now. And then comms, I work with a 20-year veteran in life sciences. She's great. She'll do traditional PR, get you on some podcasts, media training, and also for talent acquisition. I think that's really helpful. And then marketing integration, I think that would be, not anything you would need right now, but just letting you know, because CRMs, I mean, you can just, I'm happy to kind of workshop that with you, but that's, pretty simple right now, to do that when you're just starting out. So why Scientia? So we're PhD led. As mentioned, I do have a small group of, especially in this case, I would have Ebnal. Yeah, he's an SEO technical expert. He would really help me on the SEO side. And we would work together to acquire backlinks, which is a strategy. But I'm always the person that you would be talking with. I have content writers as well if we ever needed that, and that are PhD qualified. Experimental data first. I am a scientist by training, so I just make a hypothesis, test it out, look at the data, and make decisions. Just kind of keep moving on. Digital and AI in general really incentivizes small increase in compound growth. We're also fluent in AI, R&D, and life science commercialization. And as mentioned, I have this content quality scoring system. But yeah, so I would love to, work with you guys on this. I feel like if I'm pitching my services, I really want to make sure it's not just the tactical details of content, but maybe helping, on the strategy side. I have been a buyer and somebody on these on-demand platforms. I've been a consultant for 10 years, or contractor, whatever you want to describe me as. I'm name fluid here, but I think that it would provide value for you guys. And then also I do work with a life science executive search firm. They do C-suite, and we've been doing a lot of blogging on organizational design and development. So I think, that my background or my knowledge from that might be interesting to create some interesting content ideas for you guys as well, as far as like building out teams. So happy to talk about it more and discuss. Maybe if you want to change things up or just have more questions, there's my Calendly link. Feel free to set up a time, or if, also there's the QR code that'll bring you to the Modern Vivo case study if you want to learn more about them. But thank you so much. Really appreciate your time and happy to discuss more, as I said, and look forward to hearing about next steps. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.